You want to get into a rodeo cook-off tent, so I'm going to help you shoot your best shot. I'm no expert, but judging by my wrist this year, your girl did pretty good. And it was also the number one question that I got in my DMs. How do I get into these tents? So after a little research, a lot of drinks, and some partying and boo-scoon boogie, I have what I think is the guide. First of all, you need to know what the cook-off is. It's the World Champion Barbecue Contest. Brisket, ribs, chicken, go Texan, Dutch oven dessert, and open contest. A lot of companies compete as fundraisers for nonprofits and charities and things like that, and they give a portion of the proceeds to them. There are also people who use these tents as a vertical alignment for their business. It's also an opportunity to meet family and friends, and also just connect with people from the industry that you may not have had an opportunity to the entire year. Now, why is it so coveted? There's a couple of reasons. Because these tents go all out. Cotton Holdings literally had a gold shimmering horse in there. It was giving Texas Hold'em. Okay? So to answer your question, no. Just because you buy a barbecue contest ticket does not mean you're going to get into tents. Now, this ticket does come with entry. You can go to the carnival and eat the festival foods and things like that. And it does get you into the rock and bar, So the ticket does get you on premises, but it does not get you into tents. Again, most of these are invite only, right? But it does get you into the Rockin' Barbecue Saloon and the Chuck Wagon, where you can get a complimentary sliced brisket plate with beans and chips. Okay? So, hey, there's a perk. Keep in mind that everybody wants to be in these tents. Why? Some of the tents have spectacular food, free-flowing drinks, good music, good vibes, and clean restrooms. Baby, it don't get too much better than that. And it's rodeo season, so everybody that is there also wants to have a great time. And let's not forget, if you're a true Houstonian, the nostalgia of growing up and going to the rodeo hits different. Like, if you were around in the Astroworld days, you could never understand the depth in which the rodeo hit your soul, okay? If you know, you know. This year, I want to thank Houston First for inviting me out to their tent. I have been wanting to see what it was about, and when I say it did not disappoint, it did not disappoint at all. The food was amazing. The drinks were delicious and strong, and just the vibes. They celebrated the last concert pub this year, because what they're doing is they're celebrating different treasures within Houston in the history of the concert pub. So that was really cool. The food was phenomenal. Okay. And they had live music. The vibes were just amazing. So let's talk like dollars and cents about this thing. One of the largest tents clearly is Cotton Holdings. They were the sponsor. They've been the sponsor for the last 3 years of the rodeo. Their tent held at the occupancy level. Their tent at full occupancy held 800 people. Okay, keep that in mind, right? So pretty much every other tent that was smaller than that, I saw occupancies of 150, 200, 300, but 800 is a pretty solid number to say that's pretty much the max it's gonna get. When you do rodeo math and you divide the number of people that's trying to get into the tents, divided by the number of people who was there last year that's trying to get back into the tents, multiply that times the people just wandering around, sneaking their friends, hopefully into tents, it don't be a lot of space, is all I'm saying. So this is why these rodeo tent wristbands are so coveted. Like, the more wristbands you have, the more lit you are that year, right? And so it's fun. Here's some tips though. Just because you're in a tent one year does not mean you're gonna be in a tent next year. So I advise you to eat well, drink well, and soak up the vibes. Tip 2, don't be that person who gloats because your wrist is popping this year with all the bands. Because next year, you're going to be salty if somebody else you know get a wristband and you don't, and they do the same thing to you. You're going to be asking them to pass you a cookie and a drink from the inside just like everybody else. During the year, do some research. Look at the businesses that you think align with either your brand or your purpose, your business, and get to know people in that industry. Look and see who has tents in your industry. And then see if they are open to sharing some wristbands with you. I think people need to be okay if they don't attend every tent every year. Remember, like, everybody wants to be there, right? And so there will be years where you go to one tent and then you don't get invited to a tent, and then, so at this point, the best advice I can give you is to diversify. Right? Like, diversify your tent options. Like, it's cool to go here one year and then be like, all right, well, I'm going to slide to this one the next. Another great way to get into a rodeo tent is follow influencers who are aligned with brands like food influencers, business influencers, fashion influencers, people who have partnerships with the rodeo themselves. A lot of them do giveaways, and a lot of these tents will also do giveaways because they also know that you want to rock with them too. They're not dumb. That's why they're watching you at the gates. No wristband, no entrance. And last but not least, Yum Crumbs, word to the wise, these are some do not do. I don't want to see you crying outside of no tents. I don't. Ask your friend to pass you a barbecue rib from the back and just mosey on around. There's a lot to do. The carnival is open. You get drunk enough, you might be able to get you a boo walking around that might have a tent pass. But I don't want to see you crying outside nobody's tent, okay? The other thing is, don't try to run real fast by the security. They're going to catch you. And what you really don't want, is to be banned from somebody's tent or the rodeo in general. I don't know if that's a thing, but in my spirit, I feel like that has to be an option. It would be on my list of things to do. I'll kick you out. Blocked. Okay? You're blocked. And last but not least, if you get into a tent, don't be flaunting your wristbands. Don't be trying to make others feel like their wristbands ain't as iced out as yours this year. Because the reality is that we know, just like you know, that you there by God's grace. And hopefully next year, you'll be there by God's grace too. But what you don't want is to reap what thine has sown. Okay? Anyway, y'all be good. I hope y'all enjoyed the cook-off. I know that I did. I was blessed. I hope to be a part of amazing events next year again. And until I see y'all again, which is hopefully at the Black Heritage Night at the rodeo, here's to the yum. Cheers to the crown.